The circumstances of this child's life are enough to make a grown person weak. The injustices she lived with could have broken her spirit, shattered her faith, but this little girl found enough room in her heart to have compassion for Naaman. This child found room in her heart to care about the man who tore her from her family and bound her as a servant. She cared about his distress. She worried about his misery. So she told her mistress about a prophet in her homeland that could cure him of his misery. The way the story is told, the miracle comes at the end when Naaman is healed. But I think this is the miracle. This little girl found it in her heart to do something supernatural, to meet hatred with love and violence with nonviolent action. This wounded child found it in her heart to point out the way to Naaman's healing, to a transformational rebirth. She didn't do it as a victim. She didn't do it to curry favor. She did it as a witness to a truth spoken by Martin Luther King Jr. many years later in a Birmingham jail. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. So this child, living in poverty, sets in motion a series of actions on the highest level of international government with her words. The king of Aram sends a letter to the king of Israel introducing Naaman, who takes with him heaps of diplomatic gifts signifying status and wealth. He is still captive to the system of worldly power plays, leveraging influence. The king of Israel is a little confused. He can't cure Naaman. But then Elisha, the prophet, of whom the little girl spoke, invites Naaman to come see him. So off Naaman goes with his horses and chariots, silver and gold, and 10 sets of clothing. 10 sets of clothing? Really? The man has leprosy, and he's worried about how many suits he has? He seems to be one of those people who prefer changing clothes to transformation. Well, he expects Elisha to be impressed by his commanding appearance. Perhaps he expects a big fancy reception where he knows he has just the right outfit to wear. But Elisha is unimpressed. He just sends a messenger to say, if he wants to be healed, go to the Jordan River, strip off his designer duds, and wash himself 7 times. The general is outraged. He feels dissed. Elisha should have greeted and cured him personally, not sent some loser messenger. And how humiliating to be told to wash in that muddy creek they call a river. The rivers in his homeland are renowned for their crystal clear waters. Some folks, like Naaman, prefer a distant river. Sometimes transformation looks clear in the distance. Sometimes it's easier to write a check and send it to help some ministry somewhere else than welcoming our own neighbors with different backgrounds. To Naaman's huffing and puffing and suggestion of better rivers to wash in, Elisha tells him to shush. He isn't the general in this battle. Come off your high horse and go wash if you want to be released, revived, and made new. That this is an upside-down kind of battle is seen in his servants giving the orders, telling him to do as the prophet says. His healing began with the first humbling steps towards the river. His healing took place as he immersed himself in the muddy water. Our healing will begin when we immerse ourselves in our communities, in the reality of our brothers and sisters, with all of the conflicts and confusion, the humbling recognition of our own ignorance, and the need for direction, the joys and disappointments, the injustices and victories. As he came out of the water, his flesh was like that of the little girls. Like her, he is now connected to the true source of power, not power from the throne of Aaron, but power bringing transformation through connection with one who seemed to have nothing to offer, a child in poverty, a child who showed herself to be a mighty warrior, resisting and rising above all the injustices that could have crushed her capacity to love, but didn't. Perhaps if Naaman can be healed of his systemic illness through the love of a nameless child, we can hope the same. The 230,000 children who remain nameless to us in poverty might point us in the right direction. Amen.